everyone. I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Labor groups are marking their 40th anniversary of Taiwan's basic employment law with calls for better working conditions and protections. Zhang Van Trist reports.
还我7天假，还我7天假，增加退休金，增加退休金。
Workers in Taiwan have now enjoyed 40 years of protection under the Labor Standards Act, but labor activists say it's time the law got an update. They've drawn up a list of improvements they want to see. One of the most pressing of these is about the current system for overtime pay.
40年来都不曾提高过的加班费率，从现行前2小时1又1/3提高到2倍，后2小时1又2/3提高到3倍。
Activists also want 7 former public holidays to be reinstated.
增加国定假日，不只是增加劳工休息跟与家人相处的机会，更可以透过廉价的设计来带动台湾的旅游商机、观光产业。
There are also calls for higher pensions and greater protections, including for migrant workers. These include a demand that employers who owe workers more than a certain amount in wages should be barred from leaving the country. Business groups say at least some of these demands are impractical.
一直要提高到2倍，那我认为有很多产业能不能接受还不知道，2倍是不合理的啦。台湾的产业还没达到那个2倍的产业，还有很多产业是没有办法生存下去的。
And the government is striking a cautious tone on any legal reforms.
修法的各项的意见，那其实劳动部都有持续在收集大家的意见。各项的意见的话，都要有所共识来去做，才有可能去做调整。
But labor activists say they're determined to get what they want, and they're preparing to go to politicians from all party backgrounds to make sure their demands are heard. Luffy Li and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
As Taiwan competes for international glory at the Paris Olympics, many of the athletes have failed to advance to the next round. But for them, that doesn't necessarily mean the end. Our reporter Sandy Chi caught up with one of these competitors, Taiwan's top fencer Chen Yitong, to discuss his experience at the Games and his next moves.
So, right before your matches, how did you feel since this is your first Olympics?
It feels great. I feel like this tournament was a great experience, being able to perform in such a big stage in front of a huge crowd, and especially competing against their home country.
Looking back on your performances at this year's Games, what do you think you could have done differently?
So for my first match, I felt like I was really too stiff because I was nervous. I kept telling myself, like, this is just another competition. It's just another competition. But then as soon as I walk on the stage, the atmosphere, everything, it felt different, and I started getting a little stiff and nervous. But then after the first match, I think I really adjusted with the flow of the competition, and I performed way better in my second match. But then I think I got a little impatient, and I tried to put too much pressure on him. Even though that was kind of my plan, I wanted to put some pressure, but then by putting too much pressure, I left some openings for myself as well.
What are your next plans? Since this is your first one, do you plan to continue to compete in the future Olympics, or what do you have in mind?
I think what I learned the most from this experience is to adjust quicker, learn to adjust with the tournament, whether it's stretches or breathing. I hope to do better in LA 2028. For now, my next goal is probably Nagoya Asian Games and the next University Games. I think I'll stack up on experience and hone my techniques. So hopefully I'll do better in the next Olympics.
That was Taiwanese fencer Chen Yitong speaking to our reporter Sandy Chi. Taiwan's first athlete to win the medal at the Olympics, C.K. Yang, bagged silver in the decathlon in 1960 against all odds. At a time when political tensions between China and Taiwan were at their highest, Taiwanese athletes were often blocked from competing in international tournaments. Over the years, with the help of trailblazers like Yang, athletes in Taiwan have been able to secure a spot in the Olympics. Wesley Lewis has the story.
A glimpse into Taiwan's sporting history. Legendary Yang Chuanguang, or CK Yang, here outside the country's former National Sports Training Center. Yang was known as the Iron Man of Asia, and at the 1960 Rome Games became the first ever athlete from Taiwan to win an Olympic medal. But he almost never made it to the starting line. Taiwan's president at the time, Chiang Kai-shek, threatened to pull out of the 1960 Games after the People's Republic of China successfully got the International Olympics Committee to block Taiwan from competing under its official name, the Republic of China. But with the potential of Yang winning a much-coveted medal for the country, Chiang backed down.
China protested that we shouldn't use Republic of China name. So that's why that man wrote under protest sign. And the whole world, of course, saw the sign.
Taiwan was forced to compete under the name Formosa, the old Portuguese name for the island, although it was allowed to use the Republic of China flag. At the Rome Games, Yang claimed victory with silver in the decathlon, only behind his American rival and friend Rafer Johnson. When he returned to Taiwan, he received a warm welcome from the country's leaders and adoring fans.
全台湾没有人对这个所谓一般老百姓的号召力了。他是一个非常巨大的 idol， 就是我看当时大概只有蒋总统蒋介石比他名气大之外，他真的是大街小巷看到杨传广，真的每一个人都尊敬他是一个大英雄。
But even after winning, opportunities for Yang to compete on the global stage weren't guaranteed. In 1962, China blocked Taiwanese athletes from participating in the Asian Games held in Jakarta.
那一届集训完毕后，我们要去参加，结果呢，所有准备好了，我们就准备上飞机要过去了，就上不了飞机。
Yang was able to compete in the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, but shortly after arriving, he came down with a fever and aching bones. It was far from a simple case of the flu.
根据我所知道的故事啊，就是马青山海上在他的饮料里面放了一些东西下去。
饮料涉及的选手马金山跑到大陆去了，自己没有比赛就跑了。
After being drugged, Yang would end up 5th in his event, losing out on another shot at Olympic glory.
I was crying too. It was broken-hearted. My wife was waiting outside when I come out, and we both cried together.
Yang returned to Taiwan for rehabilitation, and he later became a coach for Taiwan's Olympic track and field team. But even then, politics was never far away, with Taiwan missing out in the 1976 Games in Montreal, once more under pressure from Beijing. He would later try his hand in politics, with the goal of raising funds for Olympic training in Taiwan. But his career as a politician didn't last long.
杨宗先生不适合做政治，改变了他的那个政治路线的时候，名声就低了。
While in his lifetime, CK Yang found it hard to escape the impact of politics on sport. It's his athletic achievements and role in opening up space for Taiwan's athletes on the world stage that are remembered today. After many decades using basic facilities, Taiwan's Olympic hopefuls can now train at this state-of-the-art sports center in the country's south. And Taiwan's athletes haven't missed a game since 1984, after a deal was struck to allow them to compete under the name Chinese Taipei, allowing the legacy of a trailblazer like CK Yang to be carried forward by a new generation of sporting stars. Kama Shu and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at this marine reserve in France. It's the country's first Mediterranean marine reserve, now celebrating its 50th anniversary. I'm Ethan. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, follow TaiwanPlus on social media.